FSG appear to be putting Liverpool up for sale, John. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it seems interesting timing, doesn't it? Because obviously things have been a little bit funny around Liverpool at the moment. But it appears that after 12 years or so of owning the club, they're wanting to move it on. So I think that it does throw everything up in the air a little bit. I think Liverpool have been associated with FSG, and I think FSG have been associated with a lot of Liverpool's successes as well. So a lot of uncertainty about what comes next, who comes next in terms of an owner, and I suppose what happens to Jurgen Klopp, who I think has been like the big thing that they did, right? That's the decision they made that they got right.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you that I'm reading from the copy of the Athletics News story. Fenway Sports Group has put Liverpool up for sale. A full sales presentation has been produced for interested parties. FSG has looked at opportunities in the past, but has decided against moving forwards with them. It's unclear whether or not a deal will eventually be done, but FSG is inviting offers. JJ, do you think that Liverpool fans today might be a little concerned about the sort of group or organisation that might be in a position to buy such an expensive asset?
I think almost certainly you'd be concerned because there are only certain parts of the world that are able to afford things now. I don't know.
Yes.
You've seen with lots of different owners who don't have the best interests of the club at hand, or they want to use it for certain maybe political reasons. It could be a thing you want to have. And if that's your club is what so many people in Liverpool base everything around. You don't want to have any of those values altered or, directly or accidentally by anyone else coming in. Not to say that whoever comes in wouldn't have the best interests at heart. Everyone wants to buy it. But I guess there's also the unrest of what happens with the people below that. And if it's been run so well for the last while and they've managed to get back to being one of the top European teams again.
Yeah.
Often you see, there was a manager I spoke to once, I think I said this before in the podcast, that often what you see on the pitch is representative of what's happening behind the scenes at the very top. So if the very top's very organised and everything's in place there, then you can pretty much be sure that on the pitch you'll have a stable team that's been run well because it all goes through the entire club. So when you have a bit of disarray and you have people coming in who maybe bring in directors and everything doesn't make sense and there's a bit of lack of communication and there's all sorts of politics going within the club, you might start to see a bit of a mess on the pitch, replicating what's there. I mean, that's you can't guarantee that's what's going to happen, but that sort of thing has been mentioned to me before.
Here's some more information. FSG, of course, principally owned by John W. Henry, who was one of the two founders alongside Tom Werner. FSG also own the Boston Red Sox. They own television network NESN. They own 50% of the Roush Fenway Racing and Fenway Sports Management. Roush. Maybe it's pronounced differently. But anyway, Roush, they own 50% of that.
Please stop saying that.
Roush. FSG sold an 11% stake in the company, $750 million, to Redbird Capital last year. Redbird, who were the investment, they now own AC Milan, don't they?
Yeah, I think they're in the ownership group that owns that, and Toulouse as well, I think.
Toulouse.
Redbird Capital are taking over sports clubs and running them according to data principles. Which is something that we'll see happening more. I guess the idea there is that, as we've already talked about, it's hard to make money in football. So the idea is if we use the data, we should be able to exploit market inefficiencies, etc. So,
sure. Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, the only other thing to speak about, I suppose, is Jurgen Klopp, who, we spoke on last week's podcast before a couple of impressive wins about his, his potential future. I had no idea whether this throws that into any...
I can only imagine it would possibly be up for doubt if certain owners were to come in that go against his ideologies and things he's spoken quite strongly about this week to do with the Qatar World Cup.
So, I suppose we'll follow the story more as we can. John, I think you're planning to interview someone from The Athletic about this very shortly, so if you're interested in more information about this, then check out those presumably by now uploaded a video about this on Tifo IRL. But for now, let's move on with the rest of the show.
If you like this video, please consider subscribing to the channel. The Athletic is home to some of the world's best sports journalists, including David Ornstein, Daniel Taylor, Ollie Kay, Amy Lawrence and Rafa Honigstein. There are journalists dedicated to each Premier League team, so every fan gets the coverage they deserve, not just the big clubs. And you can try it for free now for 30 days. See the link in the description.